All right. Well, hi everyone. Welcome back. So we're just doing a kind of a joint one today of Hot Cocoa Corner and a little bit of Genshin because yesterday they had the eclipse and it was amazing, but I came home and I was exhausted. So I was like, okay, let's not do Hot Cocoa Corner tonight. We'll mix it together for tomorrow night and go from there. All right. So nice to see you all, and just taking a look into what has been going on. So, I actually went and I made up a list of games because Twitter's notifications, like little click to be notified, doesn't really work anymore. So I made up a list so I can more easily kind of go over what's coming up. So Honkai Impact Third, we have Thelma's suit is coming, or her battle suit, whatever. I don't know very much about her. I kind of play Honkai Star Rail or Honkai Impact on and off, but she's coming. Let's see. Aventurine is coming pretty soon. I think in like 7 days, something like that. So he's coming. A lot of people are waiting for him. Zenless Zone Zero is still not out, but it's getting there. It's doing its own little thing. Planetary Fissure event is going to start on tomorrow. That gives you like 300%. So, if you want, or if you're looking for special artifacts from the let's see, Simulated Universe, that's what it's called, Simulated Universe, you have them right here. So you get some pretty good ones. They had this thing about the birthday cake update, which was a little confusing, but basically it was saying that, if your birthday is here, you'll get the first cake, and if it's here, then you'll get the second cake, which I set my birthday to April 27th, so in that game, so it means that I will be getting the second cake, which makes sense since I got the first cake when the game started. We have that. Let's see. Apparently, they had test signs up, and that's ending soon. They had this little faded feline for Genshin Impact, really cute. Genshin Impact also is supposed to be having its live stream, I think Friday, but I don't know the exact time. I will be hopefully streaming that as long as I'm available at the time. They kind of jump around between like 7 and 8 for me, so, and that's AM. But we have in that, and that should be for 4.6, which will be really cool. Hopefully see a little chibi Arlecchino. That would be super cute. Hoyo Fair is also coming. That's going to be on the 13th, which is going to be a Saturday. That one looks really cool, and I'll probably be streaming that again if I'm available. So that'll be in the morning, I believe, for me, or on my timeline. So, but looks really cool. Animators worked really hard on it, so give them a good thumbs up. Let's see. His birthday was 2 days ago, so Monday. I know Withering Waves is coming in near the end of May. But they've been putting out these cute little comics, which are kind of cute. The cat event for Genshin is also super cute. You actually can pet the cats. So it's kind of funny because I expected the potion event to be the main event, and while it did have people coming in, there wasn't really like many mini games. It was just one. But then we started doing this one, and we're getting playable characters coming in. So to kind of interact with the cats and things and talk to. So it's kind of neat. They're unlocking one per day, so we have Snowball and Bunny now, and then we have these two. I'm assuming this guy is going to be like the last one. I think he's the one that you can put in your teapot and pet, but I'm not 100% sure. But you have them. More Zenless Zone Zero. Yeah. So basically, just kind of some of the stuff. For me, we're doing Hot Cocoa Corner and Genshin tonight. Tomorrow, we'll probably do some Star Rail. And then Thursday, I have to think of the game. I was gonna do Fate Samurai Remnant last time, and then stuff happened, and I felt really I couldn't do it. So I might do that one. I might also pick a different game. I'm kind of interested in trying to see if I can get my Pokemon game to play through my TV so I can stream it for you guys and we can, run around and catch Pokemon and stuff. I think that would be cool. Because they do have a Switch, so it should technically do that. But I don't know if you'd have to have the same wire plugged into the same thing. Same outlet. I'll have to look into it. But there you go. Also, of course, Penacony or Honkai Star Rail is celebrating its anniversary right now. Apparently, we're gonna get a surprise on April 21st, I think. Let me see. I think it's here. Yeah. So like this is this one's going on right now, the cake. There's also this one where you just kind of like comment. Or you can also participate, of course, with submissions and things. They have this one, which we're not entirely sure what it is yet, because they haven't unlocked it yet. And then this one has got a lot of people interested. This rewards unlocked on April 26th. Some people are kind of wondering if it's going to be more than just the Stellar Jades they're going to mail to us. Some people even said things like, oh, maybe it's a free Aventurine, and other people are like, what? No, that's going to be like 9 days after the start of his banner. They wouldn't do that, and so on and so forth. But I guess it's like, unless you did like a C6 Aventurine right from the get-go, you still end up benefiting from getting another one. If that's what it actually is. Some people are like, oh my gosh, if we get a free Doctor Ratio and then a free Aventurine, the ship will be complete. And they all got excited. But I don't think it's going to be, I mean, I don't know. Some also people are saying that, oh, maybe it'll be a 5-star selector. And normally I would be like, oh no, you shouldn't get your hopes up so high and stuff. But the thing is, they've already given us a 5-star selector collected to the standard banner, and they've given us a free limited 5-star with being Dr. Ratio. So kind of with Honkai Star Rail, the sky's the limit. It makes me feel very similar to how Genshin was back in the day, when everybody was all like, oh wow, Genshin is so popular and we've made them so much money, they were able to completely redo their building and so on. They'll give us they'll give us a really good celebration gift, right? And then it didn't really work out that way. And then we kept kind of hoping that it would get better, and it never really did. So it has that same kind of feeling, and I hope people won't be disappointed. Because we've already been really disappointed by Genshin. So I will say, be more generous with your rewards, Genshin, please, because, a lot of other games are coming and you're going to lose out, and I really like Genshin and I want it to keep succeeding. And being stingy is not the way. So I'm just putting that out there. But anyway, we're not to get too much into the drama. So let's see. I think that's about it for Hot Cocoa Corner. We kind of went over stuff. Not a lot's been happening. The eclipse was really nice. Withering Waves is coming. We talked about the Promulade last time. Or Zero Promiliad? So we got that. I noticed a lot of people are playing Content Warning, which is kind of interesting. Content Warning to me is very similar to Lethal Company. It's just that instead of going out and getting stuff to bring back to the ship so you can pay off, or you make money for your company so you don't get jettisoned into space, Content Warning is more about, ooh, we're going to record a video for SpookTube, and we're going to go viral, and if we don't meet our quota, then we get in trouble. So, just some stuff like that. But anyway, alright, so let's hop over to some Genshin. There we go. And here. I guess I'll leave it on Hot Cocoa Corner. But we're just gonna kind of run around. I wanted to, let's see. I already did my commissions today. Those are just kind of like leftovers. But I haven't used any of my resin or anything. So, let me see. Gotta figure out what's available. I was pre-farming for Arlecchino. And it's, I think that might be what we do. No, because these aren't hers. Hers are the teachings of order, and it's 2 like crossed scepters. So these are the ones for Navia and Nivulet. So we could do something else. Yeah, and these aren't. It's kind of funny. Both of the, excuse me, the mains for the items for her weapon and for her talents are open at the same time. So you have to kind of bounce back and forth between the two of them. Let's see. We could also go fight some bosses. I'll be doing weekly bosses tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I need more talent books and more though, so I think what we'll do is we'll go over to Fontaine, and I know that the other thing that Arlecchino's weapon needs is the gears. So if we go do some talent book, where is it? Where are you, little blue bubble? There you are. There is a chance that there will be talent book material, or not talent book materials. There will be the monsters, or the mobs will be mecha, and then we can get the gears from there. Yeah, I was feeling a little bad before when whoops.
The weather is damp and chilly. I suggest getting indoors to avoid these conditions, if possible.
That's for sure. Oh, there's lightning. Get our battle team ready. I think I'll go down here and fight these guys first.
It's just some chronic problem I have flaring up again. Nothing to worry about.
This man pushes himself so hard. It's like, it's okay, bye, Sue.
Don't be a killjoy. We've only just been miscalculated.
Because we need these things too. Yeah, Arlecchino, since she's coming with the new area, it ends up being a little difficult to pre-farm for her.
Mind the side effect.
Because we can't get her... We can't get her boss materials.
Be sanctified.
Or weekly boss materials. But we can get her talent books, her local specialties, stuff for her weapon, I believe. Yeah.
Another rude lout.
I'll put you on.
Excuse me, rude.
This is order.
Well, I don't want to fight you anyway. I'm fight your minion here.
Stabilize.
Shower me with
Silence.
Did I scare you? Impossible.
Yeah, because from what I've picked up with Arlecchino, let's see, we can't get her artifacts because that's going to be in the new area. I mean, you could put whatever artifacts you want on her, but the ones that specifically for her are in the new area. So we'll be farming for those when they come out. We need talent books. Let's see. Or I should say experience books. We need experience books for her. We need these doodads for her. These insignias. Gotta beat up her minions to get to help raise her, just like Tartaglia. Let's see. We also need these bits for her weapons. And her weekly boss, I think, is herself, so we don't have that. Got these ready. Because I don't know what her boss is going to drop, because I know, like, Alhaitham's boss does not drop Dendro gems. And so you kind of, like, you have to have, Dendro gems in your back pocket before you fight that one. So I kind of, like, just did some preempting for that. We know she's a pyro character, so we got that part. Talent books are these. We're doing okay with that. Of course, we had our crowns. And then for her weapon, with this part, she needs these little cups here. We got some of those. Oh, and then for her local specialty, she actually uses, or at least from what I've heard, unless they change it last minute, she uses these rainbow roses, which I think is very romantic. It's also the same thing that Linny uses, which is fitting since they are. She views him and his sister and Fremine and stuff as her kids. I know people have said things like, "Oh, she's probably going to betray them" and stuff like that.
It's
but,
over.
Oh, it's okay, Nibulette. Like, the only weather Nibulette likes is the rain. You take him anywhere else and he's like, about stuff. But, like, I heard, apparently in some of her music, if you translate it, it says something like, "Oh, she's always going to defend and protect her kids and stuff."
What lovely weather. Which reminds...
And I was like, "Oh, that is so sweet."
Settle down.
Also, it's a little too, I think, how do I put it, typical if she was to portray her kids.
Ignorant and
You know? It's like, to me, she sounds more like the type of person where she would portray her organization first before portraying the people who had been loyal to her the whole time. Especially since the Fatui seem to be, not too upset about stabbing each other in the back if it comes to, like, how do you put it? It's like with Scaramouche. Like, when Scaramouche finishes up his whole thing in Sumeru, he goes and tells us that he's got to do something about...
My apologies. This heavy rain must be quite an inconvenience for you.
Mind the side of
Order guide you.
Oh, what am I
Stabilize.
saying?
strike a pose. Adapt, you will see.
The tides beckon.
The Scaramouche was basically saying things like, "Oh, I failed, and so they're gonna come to get rid of me." which technically I think it probably is a little bit more on the lines of he ran away with the electronosis. Which I think would be more of a reason for them to, like,
Mind the side effects.
be mad at him, but
This is order. Gather.
Show her new trick!
To cook this through.
anyway.
Are you here to play with me? Let me
Settle down.
These are two of them?
Be humble.
I will say, I am so glad that I rolled for Nivulette. I mean, I was already planning on to. Went back when his first banner dropped and everything. But I'm just kind of glad because he is so powerful if you build him up properly that he makes farming for other characters so much easier. He's very much kind of like, if you guys ever played Pokemon, you have Blastoise with his Hydro Pump, and it just takes care of everything. Same idea.
I will have order. Stabilize.
Mind the side effects.
Bow your head. Killjoy. Could only just be miscalculated.
Right, okay, you guys. The only problem with Farina's little helpers is that when there's no enemies to attack, they will like gear towards like the nearest hittable object and go after it, which wouldn't be such a big deal, except that they end up draining your HP. They're just like, guys, okay, enough. The cooking pot is not your enemy. But anyway. But I guess it's like, in a way, you could pre-farm more for Arlecchino than you could for Shen Yun. Shen Yun. Cloud Retainer, basically. Because Cloud Retainer had, like, even her specialties was in the new area, so. I really like Genshin. It's like, it's not too hard, but it's not like super easy.
Gather.
May I present?
A bitter pill to swallow.
And the music is just so beautiful, and it's just a really nice, it's a nice game. I like being able to kind of go around and fight the mobs and pick up the drops and stuff. It just makes it feel more solid to me than like, oh, you just, sent out your team and then you clicked around on a menu and bing, here it is. Like, I like picking it up myself. But anyway, but the thing I was saying before was I made myself a little sad because Baizu is my favorite character. Okay? And it took him so long to be playable, and then I expected him to,
This is order.
once he did become playable, that he would get a little bit more coverage because he barely got any attention ever. And now it seems like it's gotten even worse. And I was like, maybe I should just sort of try to change my favorite character or pick a new one. Because of how badly he's treated by his own game company and by the fan base and things like that. because he never shows up in events and things like that. And I was thinking about it for a little bit, and then I realized, no, you know what? I'm going to. It's like if Mihoyo's not going to put him in events, then I will. So whenever an event comes up, I've started taking pictures of him in the event. You know, kind of like, oh, like for example with the cats. You know, it's like, oh, in the kitty event, and as you can see, he's in my first position.
A bitter pill to swallow.
You know, so he's always up there. He's always in front.
Show a new thing!
Solidify.
Mind the side effect.
You know, I mean, I still have a soft spot for Lumine and everything because, I mean, this is her and Ether's story. But I always want to have Baizu in that area because it's like, hey, he's my favorite character. I can have him on my team. It's kind of like the same thing with Pokemon. Like my favorite Pokemon is Vulpix, and every time I play a game or a new Pokemon game, I try to have Vulpix / Ninetales in my party as my fire unit. Sometimes it doesn't always work out because sometimes they don't include Vulpix, but whoa. That swan just was like, got stuck on the branch. I'm out of here. That was a Risley colored swan. Yeah.
A bitter pill to swallow.
This is order.
Yeah. I'm hoping, well, I shouldn't say I'm hoping, because I have it already guaranteed.
Let the mighty be humble.
But, do about one more. Yeah, I'm doing this farming now because the live stream is on probably going to be Friday or Saturday, and if Arlecchino is in the first phase, which I hope she is, it's going to be kind of like, oh, I wanted to level her up and, you know, get a good start on her, and I can't really do that if I have no supplies.
Gather.
Mind the side effect.
Stabilize.
Strike a pop!
Silence.
The doctor will see you now.
Mind the side effect.
Order guide you. Gather.
Yeah. I've said the artifact set that is suggested for Baizu, I think is good, but I put the clam set on him instead because even though it weakens his dendro damage, it makes his healing that much more effective. And it's kind of like, I have Nivulette. I don't need him to be super damaging however, with the clam set, his bubble, when it pops, it does like 28,000 damage just from his E skill. Oh, thank you for the follow, Scott's Thirdo. Thank you for the follow, yay! It's always nice to get new followers. I'm glad you like what you see. But so I am not giving up. It's like this is one of those things of if you're an artist or a writer or whatever, or even like a video maker, and you're kind of like, okay, well, if this game or this anime isn't going to give my favorite character content, then I'll just do it myself. And it's like, hey, at least Baizu is playable. That's the kind of the important thing. Like, he's playable, I can do what I want with him. Alright. So, let's... Okay. So, yeah, you need about 400 of these if you were just counting them. And we're almost at 300, so I guess a couple more days of these will work out. It's hard to tell how much of this stuff you need really until you actually get the weapon or character and start leveling them up, because you can calculate it out, of course, but it can be kind of it can be kind of very crunching numbers type of thing. I know the one time I was like trying to calculate out talent or materials required for the talents, and I accidentally only counted for one talent. So I think it was for Nivulette, actually. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have enough. And I got him up to like talent level 5s and ran out of materials. And I was like, wait a minute, why did I just run out of materials? And it was because I had only accounted for leveling up one of his talents to level 10, not all 3 of them. And then I was like, oh, whoops. So I felt bad because he needed the little underwater creature pearl bits. So I had to fight a bunch of the little critters, and I was like, okay, once I get enough for Nivulette, I will not fight those little critters ever again. And then I had to fight more of them for his talents. And I was like, okay, after this, never again. And then Navia became playable, and she needed those little things. And I was like, okay, after Navia, never again. But then I think Fremine needs him too. But I'm not raising Fremine right now, so... But I was just like, oh no. Those poor little critters will never be able to rest. Like, they'll rest maybe when we move to Natland. There's Celestia. Yeah. I have a feeling we're going up there. Because originally, apparently Celestia was just a JPEG in the sky, and now it's actually a 3D model. You still can't get to it or whatever, but I would be surprised if we don't go there. I have a hunch, and this is not like, leaks or anything like that, but I have a hunch that what's going to happen is we're going to finish up Fontaine, we're going to go to Natlan, do all of Natlan stuff, and then we're going to go to Shesnaya. And as we go through Shesnaya, we're going to find out that what the Saritsa is doing with the Gnosis is not this horrible thing that we were expecting, but actually, like, more of a, oh, they're going to use it to power a weapon to either fire it at the Abyss Order or fire it at Celestia or something like that, and to fight back. There's even, I'm even thinking of maybe, since we found out from, what was it, Nivulette? No, yeah, we found out about, it's kind of funny, we found out from Nahida that our sibling is not considered a descender, but we are.
When on the road,
And we're twins, and we both arrived at the same time. So it kind of is.
And appreciate the wondrous scenery along the way.
You're about to collapse, aren't you?
Whatchamacallit? And we both showed up together, so they should also be a descender, but they're not. And then we talked to Nivulette, and he's talking about how, like, oh, the Gnosis are actually made from the third descender. And then even Paimon mentions, oh, the Gnosis are of the Celibate elements, just like how you can control them, Traveler. And then we realize the Traveler is the fourth descender. And it gets into this really creepy thought of, oh my gosh, was the third descender our sibling? Is the third descender dead? Is the sibling we've been chasing around a clone? And that's why they're registered as a part of Tevat and not a descender anymore, because they actually are just a clone. They were reborn. They were born here in Tevat, and that the Gnosis is what remains of our actual sibling. And then if that's the case, and then you get into a situation of, like, okay, the Fatui are gathering the Gnosis, and it's like, do they know something about, like, resurrection? Are they trying to gather up the Gnosis to bring the Traveler's sibling back to life, to basically win them over to their side to help them fight against Celestia? And if that's the case, then we're not the enemies of the Fatui. We're like, yes, please bring our sibling back to life, thank you.
Stabilize. Settle down.
You know? So it's a whole big, oh my gosh, you know? I'm assuming we're gonna find out more once we get to Natland. But oh, found some kitties. They're so cute. You know, they call this the New Fontaine Research Institute. They haven't even finished the walls yet. And they probably never will. I'm kind of like, you guys, you better get on this. You got drafts. I felt so weird after doing this quest, because we partnered up with that one scientist, and I was so sure that, like, oh, this guy seems to be really cool and a nice guy and so on. And I was worried about these two guys. I was like, I don't know if they're trustworthy. They seem kind of sus. But and then in the end, it was the other guy that was sus. Oh, plot twist, it was all just a dream by which you wake from after your sibling wakes you up from school. Yeah, that would be very weird. That would be very interesting. It would be frustrating in my opinion, but it would be interesting. Well, hey, I mean, they do not have a fear of putting Aether and Lumine in modern day clothing in all of their, like, you know, celebratory stuff. Which, I wish they would make some of those outfits for them as actual outfits in the game, because they deserve them. I know when I first began, I thought for sure that the Traveler was going to be the first one to get, you know, a new outfit, and then following it would be characters like the Archons, you know, like Venti and Zhongli and stuff like that. And now it's kind of like, no, it was Jean and Barbara. And it was like, okay, I guess it makes sense. You know, Jean is a standard, so a lot of people probably have her, and everybody's got Barbara because they, you basically are given a free Barbara once you finish fighting Dvalin and all that type of stuff. Yeah, let me see. I think probably look at it through this way. because excluding the ones that were kind of like, oh, they were whatchamacallit, censor outfits. If we go through these, it's like, okay, we first had Jean and Barbara. Jean being a standard, so a lot of people had her, and Barbara, of course, was given to you as a gift after you've defeated Dvalin. So everybody had her. Also, her outfit was free. After that, you had, let's see, who was it? Had Kuching and Niguang. Kuching again being a standard, and Niguang being one of the characters you could pick for Lantern Rite, so you could get her. Then they had Fischl for the one summer event, which you could get Fischl from this beginning, and you could actually get her from the first event with Scaramouche in it, the first like main event that was in Mondstadt. So you got her as free. You had her. Let's see, I think, which 5-star outfit was she paired up with? I don't remember. No, these three are new. Oh. Don't remember. Oh, no, I remember. She was with Diluc. Diluc wasn't part of the summer event. He had his own little event, but he was the 5-star skin for that, or 5-star outfit. I don't like saying skin. It makes me feel like icky. His 5-star outfit, but it was connected to another event in the same patch, not in the actual summer event. And then after that, you had, let's see, it was Lantern Rite again, and it was Ayaka and Lisa, but neither of their outfits had anything to do with Lantern Rite. It was different little events. And then after that, you had the summer event again, which was Klee's and Kaya's, which actually were connected to the summer event. And now for this one, this last Lantern Rite, it was Ganyu's, Shenhe's, and Xingqiu's, which everybody had a Kaya. Yeah, I think they started getting into the whole, ooh, you might not have this character, starting with Klee. Because, like, Ayaka, Ganyu, and Klee, and Shenhe, you actively have to roll for. You can't just be like, oh, yeah, I got them during the standard. I guess unless you get them during the Chronicled banner that they're going to be doing, or they're starting to do. But yeah. Originally I was like, okay, this is like, Jean's got an outfit, Kaching's got an outfit, Diluc's got an outfit, so that means that Mona and Chi-Chi should get new outfits. But then they kind of skipped them, and they jumped over to Ayaka, Klee, and these other ones. Oh. Hi, Zoa! Nice to see you. Yeah, we're doing a kind of hot cocoa corner, but also Genshin, because I didn't stream yesterday because I went to go see the eclipse and went to an event. Very fun, but I was really exhausted. I was just like, ooh. So I decided, let's just squish them together, and we're just doing some streaming and stuff. And having some fun, doing some Arlecchino pre-farming, because the live stream should be this Saturday. And then after that, it's only 10 days until 4.6, which I'm assuming Arlecchino is going to be in first phase. If she's not, I'm going to assume a lot of people are going to be upset. But I don't see a reason why she shouldn't be, especially since apparently the weekly boss will be connected to her, if you know what I mean.
The doctor will see you now.
Oh, a real life Fortnite event? Oh, I've seen a little bit of her gameplay. I'm trying not to stare at it too much. I kind of want to be slightly surprised. But I have seen a little bit of it. It looks cool. I will say it definitely looks cool. And what do you mean a real life Fortnite event? Oh, you mean if she's not in the first phase? Yeah. Yeah, that'll be. I mean, I remember when Baizu was put in second phase. All the Baizu fans were all upset.
This is order. Solidify.
All Baizu fans were really upset, and
Settle down.
and it felt kind of weird to me too, because I had waited so long for Baizu, and then he ended up being in second phase, and I did play in the first phase, so I was doing the stuff. But for me, the patch didn't even feel like it start until Baizu arrived, and then he showed up, and I rolled for him, and I got him, and then I was leveling him up and playing with him and stuff, and then suddenly they were like, oh, 3.6 is ending, and I was like, wait, what, already? And then I realized, oh, well, wait, okay. Baizu was in second phase. It went on for only 20 days, that's why. What, Baizu? No way. Baizu's my man. He's my main dude. My favorite character. I got him at C2. And I got his weapon.
A bitter pill to
Honestly, I have a lot of other characters.
Strike a pose.
No drops. Ooh. A chest. Yeah, no. I'm probably one of the... Okay, you guys, stop.
mind the side effects.
The doctor will see you now.
I'm probably one of the people who doesn't regret pulling for him. Like, I see people whine about, oh, I chose rolling for Kave and I got Baizu and I want to strangle them. Not literally, of course. But it makes me mad because I'm like, Baizu is a great character. How dare you? Let's see, Rhea C6 or Baizu C6? I would say, well, that's kind of a loaded question because Baizu is my favorite character, and it would be nice to have him at C6 because he's my favorite character. Farina would be great at C6 too, but I think she's great as she is right now, and I only have her at C0, so. I remember some people complaining about how, oh, the more constellations you get of Baizu, the less you have to have him out on the field, and then they talk about it like it's a bad thing, and I'm like, well, I mean, he's the doctor, right? You shouldn't have the doctor on the front lines. That's the whole idea. You know? And also, too, the people who say things like that seem to hate Baizu unfairly anyway, so it's like, pff, why are you complaining then if you hate him so much, you know?
Seems like an emergency.
I will have order. Solidify.
Oh, brilliant!
A bitter pill to swallow. Yeah. Ta.
But no, I've built my Baizu so he is basically the best of both worlds. I had to tweak him a little bit because they didn't make him very physically strong. But I basically have it set up there where, because it's like on one hand, if you want him to be a DPS, it sacrifices his healing, and if you want him to be a healer, it sacrifices his DPS ability. So instead, I put the clamshell on him, and so his healing actually helps out with his the bubble burst attack, and with his healing, he can do when the bubble bursts, it does 28,000 damage just on the bubble, and it does it like for the whole group. So not just one individual, but the whole group. So there. Actually, I'll show you.
Gather.
Let's watch this. 1E. Dead. Like, as long as he's got Zhongli's shield around him or something that's not going to, like, make him go flying, he's good. Let's see. D6 5-star, not so much better than anyone not maxed out.
Settle down.
A bitter pill to swallow.
I forgot how to do these things.
Side effects.
Oops. Hey, go.
Stabilize.
Well, I think it depends on just personal preference.
The doctor will see you.
Because it's kind of like if everybody
The life of an adventurer certainly isn't easy.
if everybody just kind of like went and C6'd the same characters, then co-op would be a nightmare. Everybody would be like, I want to use my Nivulet. No, I want to use my Nivulet. No, I want to use my Nivulet. And then no one would play together. And then it would be kind of like, what's the point?
Right.
But yeah. But I will admit that I do plan on getting Arlecchino and then getting her weapon. Yeah. Yeah, playing solo so you don't have to fight with people. Yeah, I know it's like I have enough for let's see. Because I was rolling on Chiori's banner and I got Dea, so I have a guaranteed. So 90 plus 240 will get me a C0 Arlecchino and a guaranteed on her weapon. Hopefully it does not take me 240 to get her weapon, because if it does, I'll be very disappointed. Although if she's paired with Linny, I guess his weapon won't be too bad, because I think, doesn't he have a sword? I don't have him, so I can't remember. Is he? Oh no, sorry, he's a bow. He's got a bow. The reason I didn't remember that. But, so he has a bow. Like I said, hopefully it won't take me the whole 240 in order to get Arlecchino's weapon. If I get lucky and I get it kind of like the first time, maybe I'll roll some more and try to get a C1 Arlecchino. Just because she just looks so stinking cool. Yeah, I think his banner's still going. Let's see. Yeah, here he is. You still have 13 days for it. My Nebulate's strong enough. I don't feel the need to get constellations for him. Unless it's kind of like one of those things for me. It's like, unless I really, really like a character and I've been waiting a long time and or by accident, I usually just go like, okay, I get one copy of them, I should say, for the limited 5 stars. For the 4 stars, you know, you kind of like, okay, you're gonna get copies of them. But with the 5 stars, you know, like, for example, the only character I actively went and got constellations for was Baizu. It was actually kind of a funny story because I actually have let's see, where are they? Characters that aren't standard but are limited. I have a C1 Hu Tao and where is he? There you are. And I have a C1 Sino, but I got them by accident. For Sino, I was rolling for Candace, and for Hu Tao, I was rolling for Toma. And those 2 4 stars just weren't showing up. And by the time I got them, I had gotten a C1 Sino and a C1 Hu Tao. So when Baizu showed up, or his banner showed up, and it was like, okay, you know, I've been waiting 3 years for this man to become playable. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop, or I don't want to stop until I at least get a C2, because it would be silly, or no, I think I said it was a C, I wanted a C1. I was like, I have 180, I'm gonna roll the full 180 and hope I get a C1 Baizu, because I thought it was silly to not have a C1 of my favorite character while I had accidental C1s for other characters. Especially when it was Hu Tao.
When on the road, one should take ample time to pause and appreciate the wondrous scenery along the way.
You're about to collapse, aren't you?
So, I mean, it's kind of like maybe someday I'll go back and start getting constellations, like a constellation for Zhongli or whatever.
Order guide you.
But
Stabilize.
Mind the side effects.
The doctor was seen. Show her new trick.
right now I kind of would like to, excuse me, save my fates and get more characters that I like. That's why me rolling on Arlecchino's weapon is kind of a big deal, because I never roll on the weapon banner. Like, I rolled on the limited weapon banner twice. And I ended up getting the first time I rolled in it, did a 10 pull and I got Yemiko's weapon, which I was not expecting. So that was pretty good. And then when Baizu had his second rerun, I hadn't rolled for his weapon, and so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna throw 80 fates at the banner and hope his weapon shows up, and it did show up. So But so Arlecchino is the first one I've actually saved for the weapon. Just because it looks so darn cool.
Solidify.
Also, it has a neat effect that only fits with her, so... One of the kind of semi-funny things is that Baizu is apparently getting a rerun in 4.6, and everybody's freaking out and being like, "Oh gosh, I hope he's, I hope he's not in first phase, or I'm hoping he's not here or there," because they don't want his weapon to be on the weapon banner, because they don't want to get his weapon because it's a signature weapon that really only works with him. And it's kind of like, that's sort of what signature weapons are. You know, the people say things like, "Oh, like Kokomi's donut only works really well with Kokomi." Yeah. That's why it's her signature weapon. That's the idea.
The doctor was
Stabilize.
showering me with the...
Silence.
I think they started doing that more often, where Mihoyo... One second. I think they started doing the whole signature weapons only working with the actual characters more. I don't know exactly when it was, but it's like in the beginning of the game, you could kind of mix and match when it came to
I've been waiting.
Orders guide you. Gather.
The banquet is...
Yep.
Just...
Oh. Alright, you guys chill out. Dang. I must be tired. I can't remember what I was saying. Getting C constellations for Zhongli, but I have a lot of other characters I want to get first. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm the type of person where I'm like, I'd rather...
Show begins.
Silence.
Like, I'd rather be able to get a lot of the characters that I want at C0 than not get them at all. Because I'm not really into the, meta or min-maxing or anything like that. Oh, I forgot the weapons. That's what I was talking about. I think, like, in the early days, you had it where characters were like, oh, they have signature weapons. You can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes. Signature weapons, but you could kind of mix and match them. For like, oh, what was it? Like, I don't have this weapon, but like Zhao's weapon, like you could put it on other characters. Like Ganyu's weapon, Amos bow, you could technically put it on other characters. Same thing with kind of like Venti's, Jean's, where is she? Like I know there's a whole thing of like, oh, this weapon isn't good on her anymore, but it's kind of like, that's sort of her thing. So you know, but just there's a whole you know, mix and match bit with this whole stuff. And then eventually they started getting into yeah, if you don't have this character, their weapon isn't really going to be that good for other characters. You know, like Baizu's weapon is for Baizu. You know, like that's what it is. Even if it's not considered a super good weapon, I mean, I'm sure you could replace it with something else, but it's like that's for Baizu. You know, and that's not a bad thing. You know, it's like it's better if it's considering it's a signature weapon, it's better to fit the specific character. And also, I'm in my opinion, I'm like, if you guys, it's like if you're upset about Baizu getting Baizu's weapon, get Baizu and put it to use. I mean, seriously, my Baizu can heal 12,000 HP with his E skill alone. One tap, he's good. So, and then of course you add to that I put the clamshell on him. And so every time he heals, he does like 28,000 physical damage, which is really good if you're in a situation where you're like, you know, oh my gosh, I'm fighting a like Hydro Mimic and my two DPSs are Hydro and I'm not doing any damage. What do? Oh, here's Baizu. Support. You know, like Nivulette has a lot of HP, so it doesn't.
Bow your head.
It doesn't. I don't think it doesn't fully heal him, but he's got a lot of HP. Yeah. So it heals about 12,000, which is pretty good. I mean, especially since I have my Baizu at C2 and he can do it twice. The only downside to having the clamshell and having a C2 Baizu is that Baizu has a Dendro application healing effect at C2, I think it is. Translation. Yes, that's one more charge. Yeah, this one. It says when your own active character hits a nearby opponent with their attacks, Baizu will unleash a Gossamer Sprite Splice. Gossamer Sprite Splice will initiate one attack before returning, dealing 250% of Baizu's attack as Dendro damage and healing for 20% of Universal Diagnosis's Gossamer Sprite's normal healing. Damage dealt this way is considered elemental skill damage. This effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. So, the clam set will go and pick up his, whatever his healing is. So if I get into a fight, this is another reason why I have him in the front row.
Life, death, and the world around us all follow a set of laws. But if you never test the
This is why I have him on basically the front line, because if he if I press E, okay, and he sends out his elemental skill, it comes back and he creates a bubble. That bubble is going to do 28,000 damage. However, if, let's say, I bring up Zhongli and I have Zhongli use his shield and it hits an enemy, the Gossamer Sprite's going to go out, come back automatically from even with Baizu not on the field, and it will create the bubble, but the bubble will only do like 9,000 damage, so it's definitely a lot less. Now this Paimon's gonna yell at me. How about we explore this area ahead of us later? So, if I didn't have a C2, it probably wouldn't have I wouldn't have to do that with the clam set. But it just takes a little bit of work. It's kind of the same thing as like if you were going to play with Candace, you have to know how to use Candace with her semi-shielding counter ability, so to get her to actually do damage. Because like I have mine fully built, and when I do the skill properly, she does, I think, like she does it's something like 24,000 damage. But you have to like time it properly and stuff like that, so it's a little bit of an issue. But it's the point of is if you love a character, you're willing to do what you can to adjust to their playstyle. It just takes a little bit, and you look up videos.
How brilliant!
Got it. Yeah, I have the crystal fly trap, but the only issue with it is that you set it up and then it takes a week to get 15 crystal flies. So it's good. It's kind of like, I wish it didn't take so long, but I went and I set it up in Enconomia, so I have a reason to go back to Enconomia. So I put it right there. Enconomia is a really pretty place. I wish they put like commissions or something there. Because, I mean, they put commissions in Dragonspine. And it would be nice to just come back here for something, because unfortunately, once you do all the world quests and you fight the Vishap herd for Yemiko and Shenhe, you're kind of, you don't necessarily need to come back here anymore. Which is a shame, because it's a really pretty place. Honestly, I wish Orobashi hadn't been killed. He seems like a nice dude. Considering he shows up and he's like, "What are you weirdos doing child sacrifices and making them walk into the sun? Cut that out right now!" And then the last child leader, Asclepius, who was basically a puppet, or they definitely... all the Sun Children were puppet rulers in the lore of this place, and basically they were rulers until they pretty much became adults, and then the adults sacrificed them, which is terrible and terrifying, and just like should not have happened, because the whole thing was you had these higher up priest vision, royal vision, what's it? Oh gosh, can't say it. It's like Jafar, the royal vision. I can't say it today. Vizair is something. I can't say it. My tongue just does not want to work it through it. I know the word. I just not coming out properly. But the idea was that they were basically using the kids as scapegoats and using them as puppet rulers, and then they were being burned up in the light of the tower. And except for the very last one, who was named Asclepius. And Asclepius apparently had been, and this was a whole big thing, because I know this because it used to be connected to Baizu, or at least before Baizu became playable, people had this idea that Asclepius was a an individual who got picked to be the sun child, and he had been sick, but he was very smart and he managed to do research and cure himself. He was still alive when Urabashi, who was a giant white snake, showed up and basically said, "What the heck are you people doing? Child sacrifice? Are you all bonkers? Cut that out right now." And he became their new leader and god, and therefore saved Asclepius's life, because now there was no reason for the higher up guys to make one, make Asclepius walk into the sun, and two, would have just gotten him eaten by Urabashi if they had done that. So Asclepius owes Urabashi his life. And apparently when Asclepius left Enkanomiya to go up to Watasumi, he changed his name, but I don't remember what it was changed to. But I know back in the day, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, it would have been so neat if Baizu had basically been Asclepius, but then after he came up to Watasumi Island, he decided to distance himself from Enkanomiya, especially after the death of Urabashi, and he just headed to Liyue and started living there. Of course, that ended up not being the case, but it still would be kind of interesting if you had it where, like, Asclepius was one of Baizu's, like, ancestors. So, like, you had Asclepius and he grew up and had children, and there's somewhere along the lines the kids moved from, or probably after the death of Urabashi, they moved off to Liyue and into Chenyu Vale, where they hung around and continued living up until Baizu's mother or father was born, and then Baizu was born. And unfortunately, both of Baizu's parents died in a plague, and he also got the plague too. But his master, which I still wish we knew that guy's name, like his real name, not the name that the one guy's made up for him. The master went and cured Baizu, and then realized that one, Baizu was now all alone because his parents had died, and two, he was a very sharp young man. He was only like, I think he said they was like 3 or 4 years old at the time, because as it said, he doesn't even really remember his parents because he wasn't old enough. He wasn't like baby, but he didn't fully remember them at all. And so he joined up with the master, and the doctor taught him and everything. And then after the doctor died, Baizu made the contract with Shang, and then he made Bubu Pharmacy down here in Liyue Harbor so that he could better service people who were living in this area. So that's the whole story. And of course, Changsheng comes from Chenyu Vale. So, which is where the original guy found her, and then she started making the deals with people and stuff like that. I think what I like about the whole Changsheng's whole deal thing is that it's not a typical thing of, "Oh, the snake is evil and it's been draining the life force of people and how dare it," and yada yada. It's like, no, Changsheng is doing that because she needs to be in a contract to stay alive, but she does not want the people who she's in contract with to die. She tells them again and again, "Don't push it so hard. Please don't, give so much of yourself. Don't die. Don't leave me." And they keep doing it. And that's why when she finally meets Baizu, and he tells her, like, "No, this contract is going to end with me." He's not looking for immortality for himself. He's looking for immortality so that she doesn't have to lose somebody else. So she doesn't have to lose him and then continue on this path and get sadder and sadder as more and more people die around her. Like, that's a big deal. And when you think about it, like, Baizu's known Changsheng since he was like 3 or 4 years old. She is part of his family. She has been in his life longer than Chi-Chi, most likely. And when you think about it, on the idea that you had Baizu and then the master, and then the master died, it's like Baizu kind of lost his dad. You know, he lost his foster dad or his adoptive dad type of idea because his parents had died. So it's like he lost his parents and then he lost his adoptive dad. And if Chang Sheng is, I don't know exactly what you would call Chang Sheng, whether she would be like,
Being
she's in a weird position because it's like she's not his mom and she's not his pet. And I don't know if you'd even want to say that they're in love or anything, because I don't think they are. But it's sort of like, I think, relationship wise, I think it's like their souls are linked, basically. You know, that they are soulmates, but not in a romantic sense. I mean, unless Chang Sheng eventually can turn back into a human shape, because she apparently can, she just is really weak right now. You know, then I could see them maybe going into a romantic relationship if she got a human form. But I think the relationship between them is, I mean, Baizu is willing to work so hard to not only save Chang Sheng's life, but make it so she doesn't have to cry. And that's a big deal.
On the road.
You know, like he could have said, oh, you know, like he could have said no. He could have been like, oh, I don't want to walk this path. See you later, Chang Sheng. He even asks her during his story quest in the cutscene. He asks her, you know, if I don't take the contract, what'll happen? What'll happen? Where will you go, or what will you do? And she says, oh, I'll probably go back to the mountain, and then to I think she says see old friends, and then she's going to go and take a long, long nap. And then she'll go say hi to all the doctors that she had made contracts with, because she'll have died and she will be seeing them in the afterlife. And it's very sad. You know, because she's basically telling him, I'm gonna go back and pass away. I'm gonna go die. And considering that she's like his only family left, I'm like, nope, not gonna happen on my watch. The thing is, too, is like, Baizu is not just blowing hot air with the whole immortality thing. Like, he actually has done it. It's in a sort of a weird way, and I don't think it's the way he wants it.
This isn't good.
It's because it's like with Chi-Chi, like Chi-Chi technically has immortality, more or less, or as much as a human can get. However, she has, you know, issues with, you know, getting stiff, not having a really good memory, can't taste things, you know, it doesn't like the heat because she'll start to rot. You know, it's like there's a lot of, you know, side effects with Chi-Chi. So in Baizu's story quest, you can tell he's trying to work on a type of immortality that is similar to Chi-Chi's, but without so many side effects. It's like he wants immortality, but he wants it his way.
A bitter pill to swallow.
You know? And the thing is with Baizu, you can't even be like, oh, Baizu, immortality is, you know, is a pipe dream. It's never gonna happen, because there's immortal people all around him. I mean, he's got an immortal snake around his neck. Like, I mean, just look at the team I have. I mean, except for when Farina basically lost her immortality, they all had been immortal. So, I mean, I know in Genshin there's this whole thing about like, oh, immortality can be a curse, and that there is no like pure immortality because even like someone as old as Zhongli is going to, you know, what is it, give into, they call it corrosion or erosion. It's one of those. I know it's like they use one for him and they use another one for when you go to Sumeru, and I got them mixed up, but and I got them a little bit mixed up, but basically he's like, you know, he knows he's not going to last forever, although he's lasted for a pretty long time, and he doesn't see, and it's like, people talk about how, oh yeah, he's kind of grandpa, but I mean, he's a pretty hot grandpa.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember. But where are those who share the memory?
Also, it would be really nice if he got an alternate outfit, because it's interesting because like you had, right, you have leeway, okay, and it's basically, let's see, it was from like here. So, because we didn't have access to the Golden House in the very beginning, so it was basically, it was Gunyasto Forest, Liyue Harbor, going to Qingsing Pool, going up this way, having all of the Stone Forest, Qingsha Village, all of this area, and then here's like where Stone Gate is, and that's kind of like starting where Mondstadt is. So we had all that, and it was designed very nicely, and it's really nice and stuff like that. But then they put in the chasm, and it's kind of like, oh, that looks even better. And then they put in Chenyu Vale, and a lot of people call Chenyu Vale Liyue 2.0 because it is just so beautiful and so well themed and calming and so nice and stuff. And Zhongli came out in 1.1. So his model is definitely, I mean, it's still very, very good, but he deserves to, you know, get a new fancy outfit, you know, so that he can kind of match, like with Nivulette and with Farina, and basically how much detail and style has been put into these people. I mean, even Baizu, when Baizu became playable, he got an update outfit. His middle piece there didn't used to do that sort of triangular. It was like straight across. And a bunch of other things changed too. For example, they like gave him some more detail on his coat, on his pants. I mean, he generally stayed as he was, more or less, but like his coat used to be completely paper, and now it sort of sways. It's really nice. But you know, basically he has a 1.0 outfit, but updated to fit in with the new stuff. And so Zhongli also kind of needs that a little. Because like if you look at Zhongli, a lot of his stuff looks very flat. There's a little bit of puff pieces stick out, like the stuff on his coat and things. But like when you compare him to like Nivulette, like yeah, Nivulette definitely has a lot more body to his outfit. And I think if Zhongli got that, he'd look a little less, I'm gonna say twinkish.
Stabilize.
Not that twinks are bad or anything, but like when you compare him to other characters, or other male characters, like, for example, like Risley, you know, has nice kind of shoulders and you know, nice silhouette. Niviolette has you know, pretty broad shoulders and everything. Kaveh is kind of thin, but he also has a lot of stuff hanging off of him, so it kind of increases his width, I guess. And then of course you have Al Hytham, who's like muscle. Him and his whole thing about, ooh, I'm just a weak scholar, is like, yeah, you're not fooling anybody, dude. What god are you again? What are you hiding from us? You know, but you have like him, for example, and so the models have been, you know, getting better and better.
Wait.
And the good way to kind of do that for the older models is to give them another outfit that'll help fill in that. Like, I know with D-Luke, where is he? Okay, like D-Luke has this outfit, and it really helped give an update for him. Originally, he had this one, and the outfit, I think, is fine-ish. Some people said, they're like, why is D-Luke wearing a carpet? Because of this, of the fringe on his shoulders. But the one thing I noticed about him is that his his face looks a little off. Like his eyes, his face is kind of wide, his eyes are kind of big, you know. So, I used to call him a grumpy toad because that's what he kind of looks like a little bit. I love him, but he looks kind of like a grumpy toad. And then they gave him this outfit, and not only does he basically look like a Fatui Harbinger, which is kind of cool, but if you look at his face as well, they adjusted the sides of his hair so it kind of more frames his face instead of like floating on the outside, and it basically makes his face look a little bit more even. Especially when he does things like this, his eyes soften. He looks really nice now. I mean, he is really, you know, whew. So, I think, yeah, I've noticed they've also started doing things with the hair and stuff. Like Ayaka doesn't have her ponytail here, and then like Ganyu, they put Ganyu's hair in a bun. So it used to be like down like this, and then there was like no tie or anything here, so it's like it's a ponytail, but it's not a ponytail. It's sort of weird. But then they gave her this one, and she does still technically have something hanging from there to kind of fit in with her model. Because that's the thing, it's like I don't think they can go too out of line because they want to make sure the models stay, because if they don't, then everything's going to start clipping and everything. But she has this really nice hair bun now, and with all the beautiful decorations on it and things like that. So she looks really awesome. She's also finally got you know, more of an outfit versus just like kind of skirt. So Ganyu was actually my first my first like main DPS. She is still very powerful, but I do rely on Niviolette a little bit more now. But anyway. Okay, well, I think I will stop here because it is 10 o'clock and I am getting tired. Let's see. Tomorrow I'll be streaming a little bit of Honkai Star Rail. And then on Thursday, we're going to do an assortment game. I haven't made up my mind on which one yet. And then I think on Friday they're gonna have the live stream, and then on the 13th they're gonna have the Genshin uh, film festival that they're gonna be doing. And so I'll probably be streaming both of those. I'll have to figure out exactly what the timing is though. I'll post it on my schedule and on Discord and my Twitter account if I remember. And but we'll be watching that. It'll be cool seeing Arlecchino in action. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been playing this game since it basically came out, like 15 days since launch, because I didn't know about it right away. And then I found it, I was like, oh, let me try this game, and I fell in love with it. I've played it every day since. So yeah, I'm Genshin is my jam, as they say. So but thank you so much for enjoying, and you know, I try to stream Genshin, you know, every Tuesdays, and but especially during the live stream events and things. So I do live stream events too. But thanks so much, and I hope you come back and we can chat some more. That makes me happy. Thank you. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and I'll see you later. All right. Bye.